Okay, for this one it reads, a study of new mathematics teaching methodology tested students' ability to solve word problems. Our favorites, right? This sample shows how students using the new method and the traditional method performed. What do you conclude? So assume conditions for inference are met. And this time they said assume a significance level of 0.10. That's our alpha. That's what we're going to be comparing our p-value to, right? So we find out how likely are we to see a difference. This one's about 56.8 and 54.2. If indeed there is no difference, how likely am I going to see that difference? So let's run this test. We're going to use StatCrunch. If you go to question help, I don't have a StatCrunch button in there. So you're going to have to go to statcrunch.com. Okay, so go to statcrunch.com, log in using your MyStatLab login credentials, and then click Open StatCrunch. And we're going to be running let's take a look at this. We have two independent means. So this is a two-sample t-test. So you're going to go to stat, tstat, two sample, and I don't have the raw data. I've got a summary of the data. The new one be sample 1. So we'll go ahead and put the sample mean. Notice these aren't in the same order, so sample mean is going to be 56.8. Standard deviation is 32.3. And then the sample size is 321. And then do the same for the traditional. Okay, so now that we have that in, we are not going to pool the variances for this one. Generally, we do not pool the variances. I'll try to give you a note when the MyStatLab wants you to pull the variances. This one, we're going to do unpooled. And I probably should have put a note on there, unpooled. Here we go. So we're going to say a difference. So our null is that the difference is 0. So this is one way to write it. mu1 minus mu2 is 0. Another way is to say mu1 equals mu2. So there are a couple different ways to do it. And this is how they've done it. Okay, and as I'm reading the problem, I'm trying to see if there's any sort of indication on which direction, if they're just trying to detect a difference, or if they think I'm assuming they would think the new method would do better. But they never do state that. So we're just detecting, is there a difference? So in StatCrunch, you're just going to leave this at not equal to. So we can go either direction. And in MyStatLab, we're going to click this one. Notice they use subscripts for that. I prefer subscripts when writing these out. It gives me a little more meaning. I don't have to make that translation between which one is sample 1, the new or traditional. So I definitely like that. We'll check our answer here. Looks good. Okay, now let's go ahead and run this test. Okay, we could do a confidence interval if we wanted to. It doesn't ask us to do that quite yet. Maybe toward the end it will. Here's our test. And you really don't know how good you guys have it for that. I mean, back in the day, and it wasn't too long ago, you would have to draw this all out, and you would have to use tables to get these values. And you're able to do it with just a click of a button. So here's our t-stat, and make sure you round, however it says to round, to 2 decimal places. Okay. The p-value, it's given here as well. P-value is at 0.306. And now this is as important as the other stuff, is to be able to state the conclusion of this. I mean, so a lot of the mathematics is sort of, it's not hidden, but it's sort of in a black box. And so computers can do that pretty good. So you have to, what a human is good at doing is selecting the test to use and then interpreting the results of that test. So with a p-value of 0.306, is that enough evidence to conclude? Remember, low p-values indicate that we reject HO and we say there is a difference of some sort. But this p-value is pretty high, and we even had a significance level set at 0.10, which is about as high as you're going to get in here anyway. And I rarely see it. I don't think I've ever seen it higher than 0.10. So we're really trying to detect a difference here, right? Any sort of difference, we're going to say it's a difference, but not much of a difference. I mean, the new one did tick up a little bit, but this could have been from random chance, right? I mean, I could take another sample of 2 classes and do the same thing, and I might get a difference and I might not. So we have a p-value 0.306, so we failed to reject HO. So that leads me to A or B. So there's not enough evidence. I failed to reject. There is sufficient. No, no, no. There is not enough evidence that students using the new method have a different mean score than traditional students. So there we go. Now notice that when you do this, you may get different p-values. So and these will be jumbled up. So don't try to really get the concept out of watching this video and working through it. Okay, don't just sort of try to pattern everything that I do from here on the other ones. Okay, so I hope that helps.